Okay, the other one thing I wanted to mention about what just happened in Venezuela, the attack on the capital, Caracas, and the overthrow of Nicolás Maduro, President Nicolás Maduro, and his kidnapping, if you like I said earlier. And the other thing is, this is also going to be a test, possibly for the Trump presidency, um, because of all the things I mentioned in the previous video about all the bad things he's done, he's become president. All the awful trespasses, all the terrorists, the situation with the Epstein files, the extreme, abusive, cruel immigration enforcement, and among many other things that the MAGA cult seems to ignore or not believe, or approve of cruelly, like those deplorables. This would be a test that I have to admit that if this is successful, if Venezuela has a transition to a stable government that is likely going to be pro-America, so because Trump didn't do this out of his goodness of his heart. He did it to benefit himself and the USA, himself financially, and to get control of the oil, geopolitical and financial control of oil in Venezuela, and hurting China and Russia, who have been allies and business partners of Venezuela for a long time. But now they did this, and some people are saying, why did China or Russia did not act against this? Why did they not stand up and defend Venezuela? China made a statement a couple of weeks ago warning USA not to do it because they got a hold of an oil tanker that was headed to China. So China balked about him, like they said, no, why are you doing this? This is not legal. And Russia is embroiled in their own issue and invasion and war with Ukraine. And China, I think China sees the benefit of trying to get involved militarily with USA and not the benefit of it. Maybe they lose money. I mean, they'll lose money, of course, because of the business relationship they have with Venezuela. But also, China has many other business relationships around the world in Africa and Latin America. So they outweigh that and say, hey, it's not worth getting into a fight with the USA. Now, if USA was the sole partner of China, or one of very few, then I think that China would engage the USA militarily. But if China doesn't, it's because they don't have a whole lot to lose in general. Like I said, they have many other partners around Latin America and Africa, Asia. Now, the gamble that I'm talking about with Trump is that he is going to either benefit politically and for the midterms this year in November, depending on what happens in Venezuela in the next few months. Again, if Venezuela transitions into a stable government, and again, if someone is put in place of Maduro, a new leader who is pro-America, and the nation goes along with it, and Venezuela seems to be moving to a better place without Maduro, with the help of the USA, that's going to be a bump for Trump and the GOP, I believe, despite all the other bad things happening. If this thing turns into a mess, a civil war with guerrillas develop, and or gangs that Trump kept talking about, Tren de Aragua, start acting and defending and resisting, and something like what happened in Iraq develops in Venezuela, a civil war, and people getting killed, then that's not going to be good for the midterms, especially Latinos in the USA, Venezuelans, or South Americans, or Colombians. If they see a civil war developing, affecting the Latin America overall with refugees and killing in the country. Bad news for the MAGA GOP and the midterms. And again, if it turns out to be positive and everybody agrees, and the citizens of Venezuela agree to the U.S. terms with the new leader that decide they should be, and they go along with it, and they move forward to a apparently peaceful, prosperous Venezuela, even though it's not really 100% sure. USA is doing this for their benefit, not because out of the goodwill. Anyway, I wanted to add that because I just forgot to say that in the previous video. All right. Hasta la vista, baby.